In the previous video series, I talked about the 4 pillars of achievement, and in those, I talked about those 4 things. First of all, who do you listen to and why? The teachability index, the training balance scale, and the 4 levels of competence, right? And as I was going through my notes now, I want to talk to you about 2 ways of learning, actually, and getting to this level of unconscious competence. So one is repetition, and I think I mentioned that, and the other one, I also mentioned that one, was observing. Now, what does observing actually mean? I want to go and go a little deeper on the observing part. Why is observing so powerful? So when you're learning, basically what you're doing, or when you do any action over a course of time, like repeatedly, your brain, you form neural pathways, and the more often you do something and the longer you indulge in something, the bigger the connection will get, the easier the information can travel from one point to the other, and the more information you keep in your memory, like in those pathways, right? So you do this by repeating something over and over again, and now when you observe somebody, you're actually also doing something. You're mimicking, in a way. You're mimicking people, or mimicking the information that you're taking in. So let's say, for example, you're reading, I don't know, a novel. And that novel has a character, like the main character, and you really love that character. Now, as you're reading through it, your brain is imagining all those scenes and it's going through those actions the character is taking. And already this act of imagination, this act of like taking the information that you're reading, is a form, or like is forming neural pathways. So now, here we come to the main point of this video. This is one of the reasons why reading biographies or autobiographies is something that is done by successful people. So successful people most of the time are ferocious readers, as we know, right? They read a lot of books. And a study once has shown that I think 50% of the people that are wealthy and that read books also read biographies. And I always wondered, biographies, I wouldn't have thought, like biographies and history books, both of those. And I always wondered why. Why would they like read history and biography? School, like, or like, you know, when we had that in school, those topics were so boring. Why? Because by mimicking and like by reading into the history of successful people and reading their autobiographies and their biographies, they get insight into the way they, like those people that they're reading about, have went and lived their life, how they worked, and they were able to model their way of life, their success, because success leaves clues. Success leaves clues, and you can model success. And by doing so, and doing so over and over again, let's say reading a biography of Einstein, for example, is what I'm doing right now, you get a better and better feeling of how he viewed the world and how he saw things, and actually you start viewing your world similar to how Einstein did it. So in a way, reading those books is a way of having contact with those people that you admire. And it's a crazy, I wrote down this line in my notes, and it said, you can still associate with dead people through books, through reading their biographies, through reading their books. And that's crazy, isn't it? Because by doing so, the association that takes place, you're associating with them and you're mimicking them. So yeah, peace out.